Rob Smith here, and I'm here with Georgi Yerosalimov as he takes on Sami Hoque at Unity Fighting Championships October 25th. Georgi, how we doing, mate?
I'm doing great, mate. Absolutely, buzzing. Can't wait. A few weeks out, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
So let's talk about this fight with Sami Hoque. In my opinion, it's the highest level fight on the card. These are both so experienced, two of the best featherweights in the country. And so when you got the call saying that your next opponent's going to be Sami, because I know when we spoke at the last Unity, you kind of teased that you've been promised a title fight. And so when you got the
Yeah.
call and said it was Sami, how excited were you?
Oh, I was very excited. Sammy's a game opponent. Much respect to him, and I'm very, very excited. He's game, I'm game, and he's gonna be a hell of a show on the 25th of October.
And one thing that you two share in common is an opponent, Yusuf Kurt. And I want to talk about, the craziness that happened at the last Unity event. Because for those who don't know, it was a mental fight day for yourself. You traveled up to Dallas and you cut the weight, and then your opponent no shows. And you with you
Yeah.
you're probably sat there thinking, oh my God, I've just traveled all this way, cut weight for nothing. But then fair play when Yusuf Kurt steps in on, I think like 3 hours notice and takes the fight. An absolute wild man that he is, and you end up beating him on the night. And Yusuf was actually the last person. He's the first person to beat Sammy in Sammy's last fight. Yusuf beat him by submission. And so, just talk to me about that first off, about that fight day and what it was like for you and what you thought was going to happen. Before Yusuf stepped in.
It was crazy from the whole thing from the beginning. Initially, I was the one taking a fight on 2 weeks' notice. I was a replacement. So I thought I'm doing a short notice fight, and then on the day, obviously, the guy didn't show up, and we end up without fight. And we thought that's not happening. We were about to leave. We were actually heading to the car, and then the promoter just chased us down. He was like, "Oh, I got someone. I got a decent fight." And I was like, "Who is it?" And I was like, "Oh, he's the current featherweight champion." And then we just straight away said yes. Then we actually had a look and saw it was Yusuf, and yeah, it was a fair play to him. Much respect to Yusuf for taking a fight on a day's notice, and that was. I, it's just we know how that went. It was a good fight. It was back and forth, and I was lucky enough to get the submission in the third round, and yeah, and now fighting for the belt. I thought I'm gonna be actually rematching him, but apparently he got different plans with his life, and yeah, we end up fighting Sammy, and that's a very, very exciting fight for me.
And what do you make of Sammy as an opponent? Have you watched much of his previous fights, and what do you make of him?
He's a great fighter. He's very aggressive, goes forward. He's happy to engage, and he's very game. I like that. He's gonna bring the best out of me. Having someone that's game and actually engaging, and I think regardless of where the fight goes on the feet or we end up wrestling or grappling exchanges, I think is gonna be very entertaining for everyone watching.
And you're in the best form of your amateur career. You've won four in a row. And so does it give you more motivation knowing that like you're on this really good win streak coming into the probably would you say it's the biggest fight of your amateur career?
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely, yeah. They're definitely the biggest fight. This is gonna be my 15th amateur fight, and it's probably gonna be my last one. I'm hoping, after this one to go into the pro ranks. So yeah, definitely a little cherry on top of the cake, and yeah, just exciting, man.
And talk to me about having that so much activity at amateur because I speak to so many amateur fighters, and one thing I stress, obviously I'm no fighter, I'm not really in a position to give people advice, but one thing I've been in the game for long enough to know that at amateurs, it's not necessarily about having big flashy undefeated records. I'm sure we'd all love to beat Khabib and beat and have crazy records, but it's not realistic, and especially at amateur, it's more about getting as many looks in as you can, different opponents, different styles and just getting cage time. I think that's the most important thing. And so for yourself, you mentioned that this might be your 15th amateur fight. That's a lot of fights. What have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned during your 15 fights?
That there are no two same fights. That every fight is different. Every opponent brings different thing to the table, and there are different puzzles to different riddles to figure out on the day. And these 15 fights, 14 fights now. This is going to be 15. I learned so much. And I just feel like I definitely got the experience edge, and it's going to show on 25th of October.
And what sort of mental edge do you think your experience gives you going into the cage?
I've won, I've lost fights, I've seen it all. I've submitted people, I've knocked people out, I've been stopped myself. I've seen it all, I've seen everything, and I'm ready to go out there and kill or be killed. So, 25th of October is going to be an amazing fight, and I'm going to show exactly what I'm capable of.
And when we last spoke, you were saying how you actually you'd be getting married. So congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. And I was speaking to Sammy, and Sammy was saying that his best performance, because he got married 2 years ago, and his best performance was his first fight coming back from being married. And so he's saying that he believes he's in for the best version of Georgi Yerosalimov on October 25th. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's like last time we spoke, I was three fights winning streak, and then I managed to get another one, like I said before the wedding. I got married now, and yeah, to be fair, I got married next day. I was in the gym. I've been training. I'm just been extra motivated. So it might be right. It might be the best version of me. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm very excited.
And this fight with Sami, and it's a bit of a strange one because he's a both in a bit of a strange situation. It doesn't always usually happen. You've got it's almost Ace MMA versus Shea Walsh MMA. You've got yourself and Lawrence versus Sami and Siam. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
does that give you? I'm assuming I know you guys will be so motivated to get in there, win titles. But what's that like going in there with someone who you've trained with, been around so much in Lawrence, and does it give you that extra bit of motivation, thinking we're going to come into these guys' backyard and take what's theirs?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We're very close, our team. We're all very close. We're like a second family. And when one of us go to battle, we all go to battle. And it's amazing, for both of us to fight on the same card, claim two belts in the meantime. It's just yeah, I have a lot of respect for Ace MMA. They're a hell of a gym, and I have a lot of respect for their coaches. So yeah, much respect. But on the night, business needs to be handled, and yeah,
And you kind of answered what I had a question planned, but you already kind of answered it earlier. I was going to say, 15 fights. That's usually the time when someone looks at going pro. And you mentioned how this is most likely going to be our last amateur fight. And so, would this be like the sort of cherry on the cake, finish your amateur career off with a title?
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. This is going to be the highlight, and then going to the pro ranks and onto greater things.
And so, how excited are you to get in the pro ranks? You can use knees, you can use elbows, you can kind of use all facets of your game. How
I can't even stress enough how excited I am to elbow someone in the face. Flying knee or anything. Yeah, I just we've been playing about in the gym, and honestly, I cannot wait. I cannot wait till have that feeling of that elbow bone landing on someone's skull. Oh, mate, it gives me goosebumps.
And one thing I'm very curious about is when you first started training MMA, it could have just been as a hobby, and you maybe never thought, I'll never have a fight in my life. And then you're now about to be 15 fights in. What would you tell the first fight of you? What would you tell yourself? Looking back in the future, what would 15 fight Yorgi tell first fight Yorgi?
Yeah, I'd tell him just stick to it. Just stick to it, just keep going, and regardless of outcomes, regardless of life, because a lot of things happen outside of fighting. Just stick to it. It's gonna be worth it one day, and yeah, it's like you said, a little bit of cherry on the top of the amateur career with getting that belt and going pro. So yeah, just stick to it and keep grinding.
And you mentioned how you're in Bulgaria. Is that for like training, visiting family, just on holiday? What are you doing in Bulgaria?
A little bit of both, but obviously I got married. I needed to come to Bulgaria to register the marriage in here, and I had to sort some documents. And I got a teammate that was in need of surgery, so I came here with him. And in the meantime, I'm in making it into a fight camp. I've been going into local gyms, and I've been training my ass off. I'm abroad, but I'm not really on a holiday. I've not stopped training. I've probably trained even more than I usually do. I wake up. We've been doing 3 sessions a day. It's been amazing. So yeah, that will also elevate my game. It's having that experience with different coaches and different sparring partners out here.
Unbelievable, mate. My final question is, what is your official prediction for October 25th?
My prediction is fireworks. I think, like I said already, Sami is a hell of a opponent, and he brings it, and I bring it, and I think we're gonna meet in the middle, and it's gonna be a very, very entertaining fight.
Well, Yogi, mate, I want to thank you for your time. I've been saying after every interview, Unity are back October 25th at the Dolphin Centre in Darlington. Tickets are available now. Reach out to them on Instagram at Unity Fighting Championships. Yogi versus Sami. it doesn't get higher level than this at featherweight in amateurs. You're not going to see a better fight. It's going to be unbelievable. Georgi, I just want to thank you for your time, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Best of luck.